Heartbeat of America podcast. We have a lot to get into today. I'm working with artificial intelligence, Grok, and even Claude. I know we've stooped down to that level to try to create some sort of a briefing document for this podcast. So this will allow me to be able to summarize and find new topics. I'm just going to put this on my story for a little bit now. And then it's youtube.com. Right, yeah, okay. So what was I getting into? Yes, of course. I'm using artificial intelligence to help me do more briefing documents, right? So as you guys know, I need to write 2 to 3 articles on the techboy.org. We finally got our first ever long form article out there. But there's so much tech news out there, but I don't want to only cover technology news. It's kind of boring out there. I mean, yeah, who cares about the iPhone 18 that's coming out soon or whatever? I want to get into the actual heartbeat of technology, go behind the scenes on what's actually happening. But this is not only just a tech company. We are also a media company as well. So I need to go and cover some other, events and topics as well. Sometimes for on Truth the Tech, where I need to find news stories and articles to cover. I need to find takes and opinions to have. I need to find all this sort of content. I have to sit here and listen to tons of podcasts, videos, and audio clips just so I can prepare a great show for you guys, right? I don't want to sit here and play video games, which is what we are doing today because you guys requested that we play Roblox on stream today, so I guess we can test it out. Hopefully the computer can survive the power of having to have a tab open and Roblox at the same time. I don't know if we have the technological capabilities to do that, but we'll see if we have that, even though it just does have 32 gigabytes of RAM. But I digress. But let's first get over to our tech headlines. Let's not bring the iPod back. Okay, so there are these people on the internet, probably not very mainstream idea, but it's a topic that's happening. People are saying that we want to bring back the iPod because it reminds them of their childhood or whatever. Their childhood was so amazing and great. And, they like listening to music back in 2000. They like listening to music on the Walkman back in the 80s. But now, we're too distracted with our TikToks and our Instagrams, okay? We don't want to have smartphones anymore. We want to have iPods. Let me tell you why this is an absolutely ridiculous idea, right? So the iPod was released I think it was released in the early 2000s, right? And at that time, what did we have? We had cell phones coming out. We had PDAs, personal digital assistants, which essentially are the phone, as a smartphone without the phone function. And then we had our MP3 players. And then we started combining them as well. So we had some phones, even some music phones, whose sole purpose was being a phone that also had an MP3 player. Maybe not as many features as the iPod itself, but it still was able to play some music, which is what these people want to do. Some phones also had access to the internet. Even the highly overrated Motorola Razr, which was a bad phone in 2004 at the time. The Motorola Razr is one of the most overrated phones of all time just because it's skinny. Who cares if the phone is skinny? It wasn't even up to a par with its competitors at the time. Even that phone had internet access. Yes, it was WAP internet access. Yes, it was kind of slow and obviously would be expensive. Heck, data even 10 years ago was expensive at current rates now because, it's just cheaper. That's how capitalism works. In any case, you still had access to the internet on phones. You could still access some email boxes and the like. So no, you may not have been able to see all sorts of video over the internet, though. With these limitations that were placed in, the cell phone carriers sold their own subscription services. Some phones, this was back in the analog TV era, of course, had receivers that could get TV from over the airwaves, which I think is something that we've kind of lost now. I mean, we could easily put a digital TV tuner into our devices as well. I think that we need to start looking at our phones and computers as more like communicators, and we want them to be able to do more, right? We should ask what more can our phone do for us. And I think having digital TV tuners in our devices would be a good thing as well. So of having to, pay for streaming, unless you want to watch something that's actually on streaming or pre-recorded. In any case, what is my point here? My point is that the foundation and the framework for the smartphone already existed. By the time the iPhone came out in 2007, we already had smartphones. We had Blackberries, right? Those were smartphones. A smartphone is a phone that can connect to the internet. They had cameras as well. And the iPhone, as much as I hate to, give credit to Apple, okay, Apple did not invent the smartphone, it was already a thing, but the commentators and the columnists always whine about 2007 being this magical year where everything changed for the worst of humanity, went down the drain. But of course, they loved when the iPod came out. That's great. So we had the iPod, right? Which at this time, the iPod allowed you to play downloaded videos as well. We had the iPod Touch that came out, basically an iPhone without the phone functionality. We had smartphones like the Nokia N95. We had the music phones like the Samsung music phones. And we also had camera phones, which was phones that had really good camera quality at the time for them. So I almost forgot, we had our PDAs as well. So the framework for the smartphone had already existed, and a businessman at the time would have bought the same thing. Now, the cell phones at the time, they were used by teens in very high percentages. I remember, like in the early 2000s, I think it was 62% of teenagers in the United States of America had a cell phone. Now, sure, were they on social media on that phone? No, but they were using it, texting their friends a lot. Because at that time, texting might have been free or just a few cents, rather than calls, which would have been more expensive. They're texting and calling people a lot. Then they were just going over to the house and used the internet there. And we also had camcorders, and we had essentially everything, and MP3 players, which they were listening to hours on edge. So what we're seeing here is we're replacing music in maybe 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, which music is boring, let's be honest here. And I have some takes on music that some of you guys may not like. But they're sitting here listening to the albums of music for hours and hours a day, instead of listening to 30-second clips, 15-second clips of music. But for the true music lover, let's look at this. Let's look at the math here, right? I think that we're seeing between nostalgia and math. Math tells you that streaming music and how we have music distributed today is objectively better than it was back in the days of the iPod and the MP3 player, right? But nostalgia says, wow, look at these kids in sleepover. Look at these kids in the clique, running around town, stealing cars, having sleepovers with their friends, calling each other on these flip phones, and they're not obsessed with technology. Of course, you have to forget that in the clique, I believe that she's writing the State of the Union on her Mac computer. I think that's one of the things I admire most about that movie, is that she's sitting here and she has her own strategy, right? In the Sleepover, no, in Sleepover, yeah, Sleepover movie that was filmed in 2004. What you forget here is that sure, they were not FaceTiming, because obviously that didn't exist, but they were video chatting on their Macs as well. So yes, these are movies, but again, this is where the nostalgia comes off of, right? They're not looking at the statistics, they're not looking at the facts. And since we have to care about these people's feelings rather than their facts, I'm going to go off these movies. In these movies, what are they doing? They're doing the same thing, just spread out across multiple devices. Now, when we look at the MP3 player, what do we see from a cost perspective? Let's say that you're on iTunes in 2005. How much? $9.99 on iTunes. You own it for the rest of your life. On Spotify, how much is an album? If you want it right now, you can listen to it for free. Now, apparently there are some restricted features, like you can't fast forward. I don't care. I don't listen to music that much. But an album is free on Spotify. An album is free on YouTube Music. Now, yes, you do need the internet, but I mean, at this point, the internet is free. Not the data on your phone in of itself, but there's Wi-Fi all over the place. You can go listen to it on, say, your library or your school or your campus, and at home. And you most likely have Wi-Fi there as well. And if you want to buy that album, you still can. Phones still have MP3 players built into them. You may not have known that, but you can go into the Play Store, you can go into the App Store, you can download the MP3 player. On my phone, Samsung Music is built in. And that's if you wanted to download this album, right? You pay for premium, it's $12.99 a month. So if you want to break even with an iTunes album, you'd have to only listen to about 15.6 albums a year, or a little under 1.5 a month. If you're a music listener and you listen to music, do you listen to more or less than 1.5 albums a month? Like, what do you listen to? Obviously, it's going to be more than 1.5 albums a month. Albums come out all the time. It's a better time to be a music fan than ever before. Now, on iTunes MP3s, they are owned, but again, what's my point? You can still download MP3s. You can still buy MP3s if you want to. iTunes does still exist. It's just that we have much more options. So what is more economically feasible? A $40 smartphone, and you pay for your subscription to, maybe if you have a $40 smartphone, you're probably not even paying for this stuff. So what do you have? You either pay for your prepaid card and a $40 smartphone, and you can stream all of music from all across humanity from a few apps, from Spotify, and YouTube Music, or are you going to buy an MP3 player, which still exists? It's essentially either a very stripped down Android phone without the phone section, or a very overpriced $800, $900, $1,000 thing for the true audio files. That's where we are at MP3 players right now, because no one wants them, because the smartphone is objectively better. Any outrage about the quote unquote death of the MP3 player is just virtue signaling and nostalgia and glaze. Okay, you're just looking back at movies that you watched, and you're looking back at your childhood with rosy glasses, and you don't remember all the fees that you had to pay. You don't remember that. I mean, back then, right, minimum wage was less than $7 an hour, $7.25 an hour, right? So if you wanted one album, you would have to work for an hour and a half just to afford one album. In my opinion, is music worth that? Absolutely not. I know this is very controversial. I know that people are upset with me about this take for some reason, but there is not one single album on planet Earth that is worth $10. And especially back then, $10. An hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work. I know that some of these people, I've been seeing this across the internet as the Michael Jackson movie has come out, and everyone's like, wow, he's the greatest artist of all time. No, he's not. Sorry, he's overrated. But even if he is the greatest artist of all time, it doesn't mean that his music is worth $10, an hour and a half of hard work, when you could be investing that money or putting it in something else where it can actually make you money back then. So now, I mean, is it worth for me to listen to on Spotify right now for free? No, still no. I mean, I'm not against him. I'm not against music. I'm just saying that music is boring. Music, it's not that interesting. All right, let's be honest here. I can't really justify sitting here and listening to music 10 hours a day or whatever. I mean, music is only good. I like the national anthem, so that's good. It's for unifying, it unifies the nation, and it's very odd. Francis Scott Key, top 10 musician, I'd say number one, honestly. So unifying the nation, having awe, putting it into your TikTok edits and into video edits, that's another good thing that music's for. Background stuff, like in movies and in Adventures in Odyssey episodes, that's another thing that music is good for. But is it good just to sit there and listen to a song? I mean, honestly, who listens to music? No one. But if you are going to sit here and listen to music, am I going to listen to him, or am I going to listen to someone who's like a little bit more upbeat? I'm going to say someone who's a little bit more upbeat. So I'm just going to go off of my limited song knowledge, like what's it called, California Girls or Party in USA, whatever. I think that's a lot more upbeat. Again, is his song worth $10, an album worth $10 to me? No. Are their songs worth $10 an album to me? Again, no. They're just good for edits. But when you're looking at this, you see the critics, the music fans or whatever, who want the iPod to come back. They're like, I'd rather them sit here and listen to an album for 10 hours a day rather than be on TikTok for 10 hours a day. Is any of that ideal? No. I don't understand how you could be on TikTok 10 hours a day. Instagram Reels is far superior. TikTok it's mid, okay? TikTok is mid. I don't understand why it is such a great application. I don't know why everyone likes it so much. Everyone talks about the algorithm. The algorithm sucks. It's very Chinese, right? You have all these, it's like you're on the Temu of social media. It's like you have all these buttons and lives and spammy features, and it's the algorithm sucks, okay? But I mean, if you were to ask me what sucks more, music or the algorithm, I honestly don't know. But that's just my opinion on that. I don't understand why people are freaking out about this. It's just virtue signaling. It's just nostalgia. And as a whole, music is overrated. So I'd much rather have a smartphone than this, because the real problem that we have with our smartphones is that we are using the same applications day in and day out, and we're not going to see any changes in this from our new smartphones, from the iPhone 17 to the iPhone 18 to the iPhone, maybe don't skip 19 because Apple can't count, to the iPhone 20. What are we going to see here? Any actual real changes? No, we're not going to see any actual real changes. What we're going to see is, some minor cosmetic changes and some, minor camera upgrades that no one's going to see because it's going to go compressed through their TikTok feeds. Anyway, speaking of cosmetic changes, my phone, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, got One UI 8.5. Now, it is a point update, which means it's not a full Android update, but this is actually pretty interesting and good as an update. So here's what we have from One UI 8.5. These are the new features, and there's going to be an article about this in the techboy.org Monday or Tuesday. It's going to be a nice long breakdown of this. So I think this is how I'm going to do the podcast, right? I'm going to react to stuff that I talk about on the website, and then I'm going to tease subjects that I'm going to go more in depth on the podcast, so then you guys can read the website. I need you guys to read the website. No one reads the website. You need to get there. So number one, the great feature that is finally back. Samsung, you saved me. Samsung, you saved me. And I gotten so accustomed to using the screenshot feature to select text that it's almost muscle memory now. And they actually did prove that, so that's good. But circular search is back. It is back, baby, inside a secure folder. Circular search is back. I'm so glad it is back. Now, all the rest of the secure folder features have not been fixed. There's no backup. There is no what was the feature? Oh, it doesn't lock every time you exit the application. So it's still a little bit less insecure, but we do have circular search. It's great. It's peak. It works just as well as it did before. I'm so glad about that, honestly. Let me see if Gemini works inside of there as well. Gemini on the screen. Let me see. I just have to hold down the button. Okay, let's see. It looks like it does as well. So we finally did get our screen sharing functionality back in our devices. Circular search was the feature of this phone when it came out in 2024. That was the amazing feature that I had. I remember I did an article how you could screenshot some Snapchats from that without having to alert the sender. So I'm so glad that circular search is back inside of the secure folder. I live inside a secure folder. That's where all of my applications are, just for an extra added layer of security. So I'm so glad I didn't have to lose functionality in my devices. Now, speaking of the AI mode and screenshots and screen recordings, it's great, but it does have a mistake. So the edge panel, as you know, when you swipe in, you have the AI select mode. AI select right there. It allows you to select stuff and draw on the screen and make your screenshots. It also allowed me to select text as well, and then that's how I was retconning circular search. Well, what do we have in this feature? It feels a lot faster. It was very, very laggy because it's some sort of AI thing. I don't know why it was doing that, but it was laggy. But it's better now. You can also now record GIFs if it's something that is, if it's a video on the screen and it's a moving image, or automatically detect that it is a GIF, and you can do that as well. And inside of the screen recording functionality, screen recording is something different. It's just, the regular screen recording function. You can actually finally record a section of your screen. You don't have to sit here and record the entire screen. You can select the part of the screen that you want to record, and you still have the audio functionality as well. Now, like I was saying, the AI select mode, it got better on lag, but if you feel like it is worse on lag, what can you do? You hold down the edge button, and then it will, scan the screen for your screenshot. Let me see if I can put it up here. I think you have to have something in motion. So I'm going to open up a YouTube video just so I can show this to you guys. I'm going to turn this down. It's just some random YouTube video. I think it might be on an ad or whatever. It might be a stinger or whatever. If you have motion on there, what do you see? You have a rewind button. What does that button do? It takes the final maybe like 2 or 3 seconds that you were holding down that button to take your screenshot. You click rewind, and it will take 1, 2, 3, maybe about 10 screenshots of there. You can select back. So if something happened on the screen and you don't have to rewind 1 or 2 seconds, it will have those screenshots saved in memory and will save them for you. So I think that's an amazing feature. However, you did notice I said you have to hold down the edge button. Well, do you know what that means? When you hold down the edge button, that means you cannot move it anymore unless you go into settings and move it up and down. So that is kind of annoying, because when I would screen record, I'd move it down to the bottom so you can see it in the way. But that is mitigated by the fact that screen recording, I can select the section of the screen that I want. That means less editing on my behalf, because usually I'd have to screen record a YouTube video and go in and crop the video. But now I can just crop it right there on device without having to edit the video in for itself. So I think that is amazing as well. We also have a few UI changes. The icons, they look a little bit more punchy. It's not going to translate well on screen. You just have to take my word for that as well. Bixby did become more advanced. It looks like it has its own artificial intelligence built into it, which is great. And it did this feature for me. It did this almost as well. So a text came in. It told me I had an appointment on this day, and it gave the times from the text. I then said, I told Bixby to add this to my calendar. It scanned the screen on device, so it did not send any of that to the cloud, and it added it to the calendar, which was near perfect. It had the time correct, it had the day correct. The only thing it forgot was the location. I did not scan it. I was able to input that in myself. So I think that Bixby is becoming a lot better. It's also a lot more generative as well. So I'm glad that we're seeing a new Bixby on device. I'm going to do some more testing as well on that. Now, speaking of the calendar got a little bit of a more overhauled design. The entire phone did as well. I'm going to swipe up here. As you can see on the screen, look at the search bar. It's more padded, smaller, and everything's just a little bit more glassy. When you go into the gallery, You have your own private folder, which is good. You have a, unfortunately, I cannot. I guess none of this is gonna leak. None of this is leaky. So I can show this on the screen to you guys. Just pull this up. You have your own. It's kind of like liquid glass, but it's Samsung's own flair on it as well. You have much more tabs as well. You can search through your screenshots, and it kind of uses AI to search through them and like identify what the screenshots are. Not exactly like the Pixel, but it still does that, which I think is a good thing as well. The phone feels a lot more fluid. For example, when I type Grok in to Chrome and then click grok.com, or even no, for ChatGPT, I go to ChatGPT and then I click the website link. What would happen on the old version of this is it would go in, I click the link and open ChatGPT's app, and then ChatGPT's app would open the ChatGPT website. Well, now when I go do stuff like that, it's a lot more fluid between switching the applications, and it's able to stay inside the application when I want it to. So it doesn't open the app and then go into the browser. So I think that is a glitch that Samsung was able to fix out as well. Again, we have more punchy icons, more glassy user interface. There is one thing that I do not like as well, and this is only because Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra's battery life, at least for me, has been abysmal, which is the battery icon is hard coded into the display unless you do a whole bunch of stuff. And good luck, I have not been able to do that yet. So I always see, I just saw it right now, it went down from 98% to 97%. You always see the battery icon percentage status. I had it turned off so I'd only see how full it was. I wouldn't see the exact number just because I have battery anxiety, because this phone does not last long, maybe 5 hours of screen on time, and that's direct screen on time, like 5 hours straight of screen on time, and the thing's going to be dead, or at least around 20%, which is not good for people like me who use the bus a lot, who take hour-long bus rides and have to use the mapping application. I'm not just going to sit there and look out the window or whatever. Okay, I don't, I have rebuked the spirit of virtue signaling away from my life, right? I don't feel guilty for trying to use a phone, being on my phone all the time. I mean, look, if the people on the internet who are supposed to be mad at me or whatever because for using my phone, these virtue signaling who want to bring back the iPod, presented an actual solution and want to run my life, then until they present actual solutions and start running my life and actually make me money, then I'm not going to listen to them. I don't, you on your phone 7 hours a day, okay? What was I going to do if I wasn't on there as well? Okay, it's not like I'm not doing stuff on here, but I do agree that there needs to be more applications. Now, so I think that One UI 8.5 is a good update. We're going to see more from that sector over on the techboard.org coming in this week's article. Next week's article. This is Saturday. So that is next week's article. Now, do I want to stay in technology or do I want to keep moving? I think we should stay. I have more stuff to talk about on technology. Like I was saying, I'm using artificial intelligence to build me a dashboard of topics that I want to talk about, but I have to do this the old-fashioned way. There's so much to talk about on the internet, right? We have all these Reddit threads. Reddit, most of podcasting is just reading Reddit. That is basically what these podcasts are. I mean, there's this podcast with this woman. She has 900-something thousand subscribers, and all she does is read Reddit stories and react to them with her fans. Now, that's good. She does provide some interesting commentary, at least. There's so many women and podcasters as well who just yap and yap and yap, and they're famous, and they don't say anything of value. Like, actually, not of value. They don't say anything at all. Like, nothing. I mean, these people who can sit there on a podcast for 30 minutes and say nothing. I mean, you learned nothing of value. Not value. You didn't even enjoy it. I understand that some podcasts are supposed to be comedic. John Christ, who agrees with me, by the way, with the whole, you shouldn't criticize people who are bigger than you within your sphere of influence. I'm saying you can't go out there and criticize anyone. I'm going to criticize whoever the heck I want. But I'm saying, people in your sphere of influence, he doesn't criticize the comedians who are more popular than him. I don't criticize the influencers who are more popular than me as well. But there are these podcasters on the internet. Here's a good example. This woman, what's her name? Dave Rose. From the It's Always Something podcast. Well, I listened to a podcast. I've seen in some of her clips. She's trending across the internet. And what do we see from her? Nothing. Okay, she said that like space isn't real, and Easter isn't real, and the moon is real, but the other planets are whatever. But she sits here and she's telling her story about how she's on a plane or something. It takes her 7 minutes to get to the point. No one can get to the point anymore. Everyone just sits here in front of a microphone and says absolutely nothing. I mean, we're polluting our airwaves. Everyone talks about data centers being bad, and we should protest. And well, maybe if you just shut your yappy mouths and actually, when you got a camera, said something that was important and something that people actually cared about, then maybe we wouldn't have that problem. But I mean, I think it's great that they're able to be super successful while saying absolutely nothing. I mean, people, I mean, even Francesca Rain or whatever her name is. Francesca Rain sits there and she releases the fishback files. What do we see in those 9 minutes of her standing in the camera? Yap, 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 and it's absolutely nothing. Nothing of value. Nothing. I think it's kind of a talent that people can sit in front of a camera and say nothing for 30 minutes straight and have a career. And then people on the internet say that I'm not real, like I'm some sort of an NPC. What? Am I some sort of piglet of your imagination? That's ridiculous. I am obviously not an NPC. I'm a real person, and at least I bring value to the table. I'm not even going to be like a delusional woman who said, I am the table. No, the heck, you're not the table. But I bring value. I bring actual takes and perspectives. Now you may not like them, you may disagree with me all the time, but I mean at least I provide actual value and actual perspectives to conversations that people are actually talking about. I provide actual like there's a reason people listen to this podcast. If they were to listen to the podcast, no one listens to this podcast, but if people listen to this podcast, they sit here and they actually learn something, they'd be entertained, right? One day I'm going to have fans, right? I see all these other, these influencers, they have their fans, right? But I don't really have fans, but they have people that like yell at me all the time for being bad or something. I don't know. I always break one of their rules, even though I try super hard to stay aligned with whatever they want. In any case, let's bring up our Reddit threads. We're going to be giving some Reddit advice. First, we're going to do some technology advice, and we're going to do some advice for other people. Don't I look cool? I'm holding my phone here, right in front of the camera, kind of like one of those podcasters. Let's see, maybe we got Instagram DM. No, not useful. Not useful. All right. Anyway, first person says, pick an Android for me. Upgrading from iPhone 13 to Android. Let's go. You're leaving the dark side and joining the light. So the iPhone 13, that is a 4-year-old phone at this point. I'm upgrading from my iPhone 13 this year, and I'm looking for a couple different phones. It cost me around, and the ones he's landed on. Okay, so there's two options. You land around $600. The nothing phone for a Pro. I have not heard of that phone. Well, I have heard of it. I haven't really looked into that as well. Maybe I should do a review of that. Oops, there we go. The nothing phone for a Pro. Or the Xiaomi 17T Pro. He says, I may be wrong, but I believe Xiaomi has a bit more high-end hardware. It may outlive the positives of the 4A Pro. Nothing phone is cool. What am I missing here? Well, is Xiaomi just a clear pick? Now, I'm not Xiaomi a nothing expert. He probably doesn't live here in the United States, so I'm not going to say anything about the bands. I'm going to assume that both the bands work in both countries, on both phones. I'm going to say pick the Xiaomi because he's leaving iOS. Xiaomi is very notorious for trying to copy iOS. The UI looks a lot like iOS. So if he likes that, I'm going to go with Xiaomi as well. Nothing. I mean, do I really trust nothing? I mean, one time in 2021, I was on my mom's Instagram account at the time. I was in there begging for the phone. It was like, if you go in there, you can chat in, you can get a free phone. Maybe it's 2022 or whatever. They didn't give me a phone. So that's kind of sad. Honestly, nothing. Do better. But I'm going to go with the Xiaomi 17T Pro. Let me just pull up the specs here just to make sure that I'm not giving this guy bad advice. Let's go with, I know that the T series are, it's kind of like the, like not exactly thing. It's an upper mid-range phone. That's what we're getting into today. Looking at the design right now, we got that stovetop camera design, right? Let me see if I can pull it up here for you guys on the screen. But I mean, would you guys like seeing this segment every time where I just go on to Reddit and compare people's phones and then maybe write about them as well? Maybe we can do a full write-up here. But this is the Xiaomi 17T Pro. I mean, it's an okay design. My brother, I don't know, he got obsessed with. He was like, I don't like this phone. Not this phone. It's just he's talking about a phone. I don't. because I don't like the way the back looks. Like, well, you're gonna be looking at it. It doesn't have the back screen on here. You're gonna be looking at the front of this phone 99% of the time. I'm not really sure how this looks. But I mean, when we look at this, we look at the specifications from the Xiaomi website. We see it is the telephoto master, according to them, which I think is interesting. A 5 times telephoto zoom. Obviously, I don't think you're gonna be good at on a nothing phone. I'm gonna trust Xiaomi's cameras a lot better. A 7,000 milliamp hour battery and a 6.83 inch, 144 inch display. Obviously, I'm going to go with that. When you give me those two options between the Nothing Phone 4A, I don't even have to look at the specs on that one. I'm going to go with the Xiaomi on this. You have a big, beautiful display from a more reputable company, and he's comparing Nothing to Xiaomi. If it was a Samsung phone, I'm going to go with Samsung. And a 7,000 milliamp hour battery. That's great. Would I personally use a Xiaomi phone? I'm not sure if I trust my data in the hands of a Xiaomi phone. I trust South Korea more than I trust China. All right. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Xiaomi phone. All right. Now, what's the next question here? The S24 Ultra or the S26 Ultra. So S24 Ultra renewed at $450 or S26 Ultra for $1.2K. So what are the benefits of getting the S26 Ultra? Obviously, I want to say you're going to probably get better battery life, marginally better cameras, and you'll technically get 9 years of updates because you'll be getting 7 years of updates from now. While the Samsung S24 Ultra's already gotten its 2 years of updates, so you're only going to get 5 more. So you get technically 2 more years of updates. What do we see here? S24 Ultra for $540. And he's having a hard time justifying paying double the price. He has the iPhone 15 right now. He wants a higher refresh rate screen. He'd rather have an anti-reflective screen than a privacy screen. And he says that the chip on the phone should be able to handle what he does right now. And he might get a battery replacement. So S24 Ultra, S26 Ultra. So as an S24 Ultra, what would I recommend right now? If he's okay with getting the battery replacement and he wants the anti-reflective screen rather than the privacy display, I don't know why it's on the Twitch right there. And you also get the added benefit of a Bluetooth S Pen, and the camera's who cares right there. And he just said light mobile gaming. He did not list the games that he's going to be playing on here, but I play Roblox. Roblox looks fine for me. Retro Bowl. I'm not a gamer, but I think that maybe if you're saying video editing, then I lean towards the S26 Ultra. Yeah, video editing works well on this device, but you can always have a much more powerful phone than that. So I'm going to go with the S24 Ultra. That's what I recommend to you, fine sir. All right, what is our final question? This is an actual question. He's in India. The S26 Ultra versus the S25 Ultra versus the Pixel 10 Pro versus the OnePlus 15. Honestly, this is only a two-phone question. We're going to take out the phones in the middle. We're going to put them together between the S26 Ultra and the OnePlus 15. Right? Because you look at the S26 Ultra versus the S25 Ultra, what's the difference? And if he's really comparing between the two, we're going to go with the newer. Pixel 10 Pro, I wouldn't recommend them over these phones. I think that you're going to get better telephoto zoom performance. You have about the same battery life or size rather on the Ultras than the Pro. So what we're looking at here is either do you want the best cameras or do you want the best battery? If you want the best battery, go with the OnePlus 15. And he says he's been using the Samsung Galaxy A70s. He says he wants a phone with good camera quality. Battery should be good. He doesn't say it needs a battery, beast. The S26 Ultra battery should be great. So I'm going to go with the S26 Ultra over the OnePlus 15. There's no reason you should get the S25 Ultra over the S26 Ultra if they're at the same price and you're comparing them anyway. No reason to get the Pixel as well. So I'm going to say get the S26 Ultra over the OnePlus 15 for your current specifications. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, we have some other stuff from Reddit as well. The cesspool of idiots and deranged people. This is stuff I found on my own. Right? These podcasts, they have so many podcasts, 200-something episodes just reading Reddit threads. This is what I've been able to do on my own. What do we have here on the screen? Okay, let's go give some advice to this kid on a student council election. That's my specialty here from the student council subreddit. Somebody needs a lot more love, in my opinion. Hey, okay, wow, our school has released early applications for student council, and I filed the form for house captain. I have no idea what that is. People should be making up positions anyway. In any case, we will have an interview, which I have a feeling I'll qualify for, and then we'll have elections in October. But the problem is, this person is not popular. No one knows me. In all caps, there are plenty of popular people running for it, so how may I campaign? The election is in October. They have plenty of time for this. What is their strategy? Well, first of all, you need to get out there and get to work. I've been seeing so many campaigns on social media of these kids who are running already. You need to get into running. Back in 2023, when I thought I was going to go back to my public school, I was already working right after the 2022 loss. Right after the 2022 loss, I was already working on my next campaign. So get to work. This was in the early days of ChatGPT, so this is like in early 2023. I was in there, typing in stuff like that. We're in the advanced era, so get to work with artificial intelligence. Plan out your speeches. Plan. Right. So running up against these popular kids, what do you need to do? You need to meet and talk to everyone. Find a group that the popular kids kind of ignore that doesn't poll badly. Okay, I don't need you. Like, why are they ignored? Okay, if they're ignored for being annoying and bullies, obviously don't side with those people. Just, if you're popular person, you obviously cannot give everybody 100% of your attention. There's going to be a group that feels left out, that's same, okay? Not one of those groups that, why are they left out? Oh, well, they threw a kid off the building. Well, yeah, probably leave them out. You don't want their votes. But I mean, you want their votes, but you don't want their endorsement. You don't want to be associated with those people, right? So get those people's back and find some semi-popular kid. I mean, unless your school has like 50 people, then every popular kid isn't running for president. When I ran for president, all the popular kids ran because, 50 people, we can't have half the school being popular or you have like one fan, okay? So you can't have every popular kid in school running unless it's a really tiny school. Let's hope it's not a really tiny school. So find one popular person that you're allied with and get them to kind of help, back your campaign. Give it out to the Northeast. I've been thinking about this as well when I run my campaign here. I'm going to need to find some people who are like normal people who are going to be running and who can help get you connected to those people. Right? And then you got to go out there and talk to the press or even create your own press. Social media, if the school has a news broadcast or whatever, and run a flashy campaign. You need people to know your name, right? I don't know these popular kids, but I think that they're banking on, they'll just put their face on a photo and say, hi, vote for me. And, people know who they are, so they might vote for them, they might not. If you run an actual campaign, a very flashy campaign where you don't stick to the issues, okay? This isn't Lucy Cunningham Schultz. This isn't Kids Corner, okay? This is not fictional. This is real life, right? Sticking to the issues and, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to stick to the issues and I'm going to, campaign. I'm going to run a clean campaign, okay? That works on TV. That works on Adventure Odyssey. That works in the evangelical media. This is not the evangelical, hyper-theoretical media sphere. This is real life. Right, the kids don't care about the issues. They don't care who's running for president of their class or house leader or something. You need to run a flashy campaign. When you're in office, focus on the issues, of course, but you need to run a flashy campaign, a campaign that people know who you are, right? They need to know what you're about. And then act like you're going to win. Like I was saying, don't make it a battle between you and policy versus the popular kids. Don't be like, for far too long, we have been left out by the popular kids, by the cheerleaders, by the quarterbacks. I am a man for the... No one cares, okay? This is not Disney Channel. That's not going to help you win. Act like you're popular. Act like you're him. Just go ahead and be like, yeah, guys, vote for me. Yep, I am... I don't know whatever your name is. I am Ethan Shea. I'm going in and handing out the flyers. I am Ethan Shea. Hand out the flyers and hold your own rallies and events in malls and in parks, wherever the kids hang out. Okay, when I'm saying in malls, I'm not saying go out there and storm the mall. Maybe go out there in front of the Little Lemon, have some sort of gathering for these people. Have an actual campaign, right? The popular kids just banking on their popularity. You need to go out there, invite some people over to your house or whatever. Have a campaign that is worth remembering. Have something that the press is going to want to talk about. Run flashy ads on social media. Host a rally. Just be fun, be big, be flashy, and be safe. That is my suggestion to you. Oh, guys, we got a chat. Let's see what Sweet Baby Historian says. Am I going to play scary games? If Jailbreak counts as a scary game, then yeah, I guess. Yep, that's a scary game. Let's open up Roblox, and this is going to be very scary for my computer because apparently with 32 gigabytes of RAM and an i7 component in here, chip, a recent i7 chip, need I remind you, it doesn't... It acts like you can't run. I don't know. All right. This is the first time I've ever tried streaming a game on a computer before. So bear with me. Chat, tell me what you want me to do. And by chat, I mean SBH. So you have full here, 13 gigabytes of RAM. No, I said 32 gigabytes of RAM. I'm going to mute that. There we go. Yeah, 32 gigabytes of RAM. Now, I'm going to go away, you screen record. What is this? I didn't even ask. Anyway, I'm going to share this on my screen. You guys get to pick. Do you want me to be the police or do you want me to be the prisoner? And I'm not good at this, so. Why would I want the Xiaomi phone to show? There we go. This doesn't look that laggy. Yeah, I don't think they sell 13 gigabytes of RAM. I don't think you can do that. But you get to pick, guys, police or prisoner. You know, this morning there was only like 3 police in the game, like 3. So I don't know what these kids are outside doing. But you get to pick. If you don't pick in the next 10 seconds, then I'm just gonna spin a wheel. Roll die. So if it's an even number, then we're going to go with the police. If it's an odd number, we're going to go with the prisoner. Unless you guys pick. Okay, roll die. All right, it's an odd number, so we're going with the prisoners. If it lets us do that. Oh no, he said I'm a blue line, so I should go with the police. He got in just in time. All right, we're going with the police. If my screen. Do I have to use the touch screen? Phone's in pocket, so I'll be here in spirit. All right, well, that's great. Yes, I'm going to switch the teams, guys. Switch. Why is the... See, this is the thing. Like, why is my computer like this? Where's my cursor? Like, what are we doing at this point? Did I accidentally deactivate the touchpad? Because for some reason there's a button on the computer that does that. Why would I want to do that? Like there's no map. Okay, no, the touchpad is on, so that's good. You see what I mean? You know, I pulled up some kids game and the computer acts like I asked it to make a nuclear weapon. Like, what are we doing? Why would you do that? Again, it's gone. Wait, I can't even tell stream by if I wanted to see the cursor. Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Let's see if I can. Maybe I can use my phone to control it. Okay. We're gonna see if I can close the game. Yes. Thank goodness it's touchscreen and not a Mac. I wouldn't be able to do any. Oh, it's back. Wow, guys, the touchscreen. Oh, sorry, the cursor. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. Because of course it is. What? What? Why? Go away, please. See, this is why I never play games on stream because you know you tell this thing to open a tab and it starts dying on you. I don't know why it does that. I don't even have a cursor, so we can't even show stuff on the screen. However, we do have more advice to give over on Reddit while this computer continues to crash again. Which makes me wonder, how did the people in 2012 do this? We have a very advanced computer from 2024 and we can't even. The cursor dies when you open the game. Like what's going to happen? Is a bomb going to explode when I open Excel? Anyway, here is our next thing. Before our cursor comes back, because we kind of need that. It's kind of a core part of the computer. What's the next piece of advice we have for the redditors of the internet? All right, what do we have here? Should I confess through a handwritten letter on our crushes? No. No. Street Baby Historian says, thank God I'm not on the Mac. Computer crashes. Yeah, well, I mean, I'd rather be on a crashed Windows computer than on a Mac. Macs are annoying. Like, imagine being on a Mac. Could not be me. I mean, the UI of a Mac is terrible. I mean, it's almost as bad as having a crash. What this person has to say? My answer to her or him is still no matter what, unless they're offered $1 billion. As we've been learning, you don't actually confess to anything written. You don't confess to anything. But if you confess to something, and you confess over the phone, so there's no proof of that happening. You could technically confess via text or email. Those can be spoofs. A handwritten letter. Wait, what are you doing here? Especially something that has such a failure rate. Let's see what it says here. There's this guy I've liked for almost a year now. He's my senior, and we've known each other since high school. We're never super close. We have that weird friendship where we randomly jump about dumb stuff and send each other reels all the time. A year ago, I realized I actually liked him. I'm getting so into Safari. It's communist behavior over here. Good grief. Who uses Safari? Safari? Wow, no, that could not be me. Could not be me. Now he's saying that she doesn't know if he likes him or not. He doesn't know, blah, 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 all that kind of nonsense. I'm not going to sit here and waste my breath reading this stupid thread. My answer is still no. Why would you do that? Never incriminate yourself. That's stupid. Just don't. There's rule 101 for incriminating yourself. All right, see if we can bring this back so we can actually do stuff. Oh, it's back. We have a cursor back, guys. All right, we'll give it one more shot. We'll give it one more shot because I promised the fans. I do anything for the fans, even though I don't actually have fans. But we're bringing it back. That's why it's so good that I have a phone here, because if I didn't, I'd be kind of screwed. Bring it back, guys, and he said to be a police officer, so that's good. Let's see if we can bring back the cursor one more time. Oh, okay. I don't know why I did that, but so unfortunately, you're gonna have to see the frames per second on that if you want to see the game. So beggars can't be choosers. Well, just don't have bad luck with computers like me. I had a nice Samsung computer. I've never had problems with Samsung until the end of its life, which was like almost 4 years old at that point. Which obviously only had 12 gigs of RAM. It was going to die at that someday. We all die. All right, here we are. You can see this on the screen. All right, chat. You guys tell me what to do. Actually, I'm not. Oh, sorry. The cursor's gone again, because of course it is. I mean, what kind of country is this when you can't even have cursor? Okay. Closer. It's not closer. I'm going to overlay the chat on the screen. I don't have to sit and freeze on me. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see it or not. Suck for you guys, I guess. I know. Let's go inside the game. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I don't have a good. Well, I have one, but I'm not gonna pair it. I don't even know what it could. Oh, whoa! What? This is ridiculous. I just walked outside the door and walked into the middle of a gun battle. Terrible day for me. I just get shot in 2 seconds. See, this is why I don't play games because I'm not good at them. And nothing works. It looks like there's some sort of gun battle going on outside, so I gotta go outside. Hey, look, I can't even walk through the doorway without getting shot at. I mean, what is this, Chicago? Like I told Annabelle, people get shot for free every day. So there's that. So as you can see on the screen, we're just walking through, and we get shot. I'll put my gun back. There we go. And this is for the fans. How long are we gonna play this? Because I did not consent to getting shot every day. This is still a technology podcast, not a video game stream. Wait, there's doors on here. Can you go in here? There's so many places I haven't been. So, all right, guys, we'll stay on here either as long as you tell me to, or until we arrest somebody. If I arrest somebody, we're leaving this and going on to do important stuff with our life. Yeah, thank goodness. See, yeah, sure, the computer may have crashed, SPG, Sweet Baby Historian, but I have a touchscreen, and you don't, unless you have one of those airboys. But still, you don't even have a USB port, so a USB-A port. So I don't really know what to tell you on that one. I mean, imagine having a USB-A port on a computer. Like, sure, my computer may crash, and I can't even climb something, but at least I have a touchscreen and I have USB-A port. So we're going to go up there. We're going to another gun battle in my own police station. But and he stole my key card. Card in 4K too. Well, probably not even 4K, seeing as the computer is probably lagging so badly that it went into. What is going on out there? So what we're going to do is I'm going to go up. He says there's no extension I can't buy. Extension? What kind of extension is going to make your computer touchscreen? What are they doing over there in Mac world? See, these Mac users, they don't know how to use computers. That's why they think everything. I heard this conspiracy theory before. I'm not big into conspiracy theories. I hate conspiracy theories. I only believe in two now. This conspiracy theory is that Apple makes their stuff so hard to use, so unintuitive to the normal person who has a brain, that when people use Apple, they think, wow, if Apple's this hard, Apple says that they're easy to use, and stuff like Windows and Android must be like, you must be a genius if you have to use it, which probably true. But as we all know, Android is so much easier to use than iOS. Like that is a fact. iOS is abysmal. Like imagine you're on iOS and you want to use two apps at the same time. What do you have to do? Oh well, you gotta either download some sketch app or something, or you can't split screen. Like why can't you split screen on iOS? I honestly don't understand. Like you have a very powerful phone, one of the most powerful phones in the world, and you can't split screen. Okay, but let's say hypothetically I wanted to. Oh, it's Q and E. Of course, there we go. Yeah, I always like when you're flying a plane or something, like when you're doing takeoff and landing, playing the national anthem, which is an actual good song, unlike some of these other songs that people have. Okay, so how do you go forward? The national anthem, it's aura, guys. Peak. How do you go forward? Is it W? Oh, it's actually W. Wow. Why is it W? What? Okay, so let's say I wanted to hypothetically steal. It's A for some reason. And S is back. And E is up. Okay, D is okay. So for some reason, Instead of using the arrow keys that God gave us, we got to use keyboard controls because reasons. But yeah, so remember, guys, one criminal, and then we're going back to normal podcasting, unless you guys tell me to do something. But because there's like 2 people watching this podcast, I set the rules. There's Q down. So I just have to find one criminal who's not in jail. All right, went back to backwards. In season 31, the game looks the same since I've been in high school when I was a freshman, so couldn't have been that good of a season. I don't know. How do you go down? Q? That makes 0 sense. I always liked this game because you had all the fun stuff. You could fly around on stuff. You could drive a car. It's the kind of interesting stuff that you see in games. No. Where are those criminals? Wait, honestly, where are they? Like, what are they doing? I haven't even seen a car drive past. Is there no one here? I did not. I'm just gonna go down to the donut store. Oh no, they're doing a gas station robbery. Okay, where's the gas station? Is that it? How can you do a gas station robbery while I'm right there? Like I was saying, I want to bring back my Claude. I hate Claude, but I have to use it sometimes. People behind Claude are so annoying because when you're in Claude, they're like, "Wow, guys, I'm far more superior than you." But the technology is superior, right? And like I said, for Perplexity, and like I said, for Google, I'm going to use the search engine. That is the best. And right now, it is still Google, no matter what the people are saying about, oh, DuckDuckGo spiked up 3 times in a day. Well, yeah, I guess. Oh, gosh, we're getting shot at. We just died. We just died in a helicopter. We got shot down somehow. I don't know how that happened. But, everyone's like, DuckDuckGo is coming back, and, Google is cooked. No, Google is not cooked. Google is not cooked, guys. Just because DuckDuckGo searches spiked by 3 doesn't mean anything. You multiply 0 by 3 when you still have 0. No one cares about DuckDuckGo that much. It's again with the virtue signalers. Virtue signaling is one of the most annoying things that you can do on planet Earth. I really don't like virtue signaling because you're just trying to prove to people that you're a much better person. You're not like one of these criminals. Yeah, I'm not like other girls, guys. I use DuckDuckGo instead of Google. Use Google like everyone else, okay? And what you're doing is you're falling for this propaganda and these lies. All right? Now, there are some good reasons to virtue signals when you actually have virtue. Like using Android over iOS, that's objectively better. So I wouldn't even consider it to be virtue signaling. I just say that's using the technology that is best, right? You wouldn't want to use an iPhone. I mean, so yeah, if you think that you're better for using an Android phone than for using an iPhone, then obviously, I mean, it's objectively true. What is the thing here? Sri Ravi Historian says obviously people with superior intellect being everything. I mean, I guess technically the people with superior intellect being everything because they know everything. Because if you're binging something, you're not gonna find it. It's like that VBS song. I will seek you and search you and find you with all my heart. Well, yeah. If you want to start destination digging, you don't start in Bing. You start in the Bible. I mean, Bing is not a good search engine. It's such a bad search engine that, oh, guys, here's a criminal here. Where'd he go? Oh, it's such a bad search engine that, how do you get down? Goodness, he was sitting right there. We could have ended this awful game and actually got back to work fighting for the citizens of this great country. But no, guys, I'm just gonna sit here and wait. I know, what do they call it, camping or whatever? Well, too bad. Maybe you shouldn't try to leave the jail cell. So let that be a lesson with you. Why is it still up here? Oh, did someone just steal a helicopter? Where's the police? There's only like 5 police officers in the game right now, and I'm not really one. I don't know how to play because I don't waste my time out here productive. I'm out here working, guys. Yeah, this this is yeah, we're really learning something. Forget what is wrong with you? Like I was saying, Bing is bad, right? Everyone knows that Bing is bad. Brave sucks. All these alt browsers, all these alt technology companies, I do not like them a lot because they see real problems. See real problems like me dying out here in the street again. I've died like what 3 times already. They see real problems. They say that big tech is bad or it's overlord. And sometimes it's just like some of these people are anti-artificial intelligence. Again, there's good people on both sides of that. Just maybe don't be insufferable. I don't know. Like, maybe I'd be on the anti-AI side if most people who are anti-AI weren't unwashed and insufferable. There's good people who are anti-AI who actually take baths. I guess maybe the anti-AI people who don't believe in taking baths are like, well, the data center is using all the water anyway, so I can't waste water. But let me just tell you, take a bath, take a shower, that would be good for you, right? It would be good for civilization if you guys took baths. It would be good for civilization if you guys took showers. Okay, I guarantee you that you're not gonna, run out of water or whatever. But these alt tech companies they're usually like overpriced, so they try to fix a problem that doesn't really exist. Right? Brave search should not exist. I'm thankful that we have alternative search engines, just in case Google were to go down one day, or sometimes you might be able to find some website. Oh, oops. I'm just gonna yeah. Sometimes you might be able to find some website that you wouldn't have found on Google, right? You don't want to have complete market dominance, but Google is the superior choice. That's why people use it. It's not like people force Google upon you, right? And you you're not resisting anything by not using Google. Okay, you're not better than people for having a worse search experience. Like, what do you want, a cookie? Every time I see people virtue signaling, I just give them cookies. I'm like, oh, so I don't do this anymore because that's some show. Okay, what, do you want a cookie? Like, what, you want a pat on the head or something? Well, I don't use social media anymore. As you say this on social media, you can always tell those people look like that. Those people are like, I don't read on social media, guys. It's bad. And then you can see that they're actually on it. Like, again, virtue signaling. That's what we should call this podcast. Is these virtue signalers. The only thing that's worse than these criminals in jailbreak is these virtue signalers. Where do you go? I do like how nice it is that jailbreak lets you drive over stuff and it comes back. I don't know where the criminal went, so we're just gonna keep going, guys. Oh, there's a jewelry store robbery? Wasn't I just there? I don't know. Oh no, that's in the city. How do you even get good at this game? What is this? Oh no. Who puts a $65,000 car in the middle of the street? Not even just leaving it right out there in this lawless city. There need to be more interesting games like this, but maybe stuff that works offline as well. I think that offline access is really crucial for the next development of technology. Because that's how we did it in the 90s and the early 2000s, right? Everything was offline. Now you have stuff like this, and it's online. And like, I can run this on my phone. It shouldn't be that hard to run on a computer, right? Our forefathers would have been able to run this, right? I think it was what, GTA 5, GTA 4, that ran on 512 megabytes of RAM, not even a whole gigabyte of RAM. I think that was all that was on the PlayStation at the time, the PlayStation 3, and they were able to still fit GTA in there, which is still a decent game, I guess. I've never played it, but I think people still like it. I don't know. What was I look like? Some sort of gaming expert? But I digress from that. My point being that we have a major problem, and this is something that even Google Chrome runs into, which is that we have so many resources on our computers, like I was saying, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and yet our applications are taking up all of them, even though people are sitting here just using Google Docs and typing on everything in the cloud. Like, what really is the next era of technology? What are we going to do next? If everything's just in the cloud, then why do you need a decent computer? But then you'd have to have internet. Like, what happens if the internet goes out? Then what? No more computer for you. We tried that in the 60s, right? You had the mainframe computers, and that's what started off the PC revolution, right? Everyone was like, everyone wants their own computer for themselves. It's kind of like the Catholic Church, right? Everyone was out there reading the Bible. Actually, sorry, you have to go to a church to get the Bible read to you in Latin or whatever. But then, the reformers came along and said, no, we want to read the Bible for ourselves. They translated the Bible, and you could read the Bible for yourself now. Well, that's how it was like for the mainframe computers. So look, there's a criminal over there, right? You could get out, and at that time you have to rent out a console or whatever. Oh, I forgot to open up my. If you could open up a console or whatever, and now, oh, gosh, why is this so hard? Is he shooting at me? Hold down E, hold down E, hold down E, hold down E. Yeah. How is he not hitting? Like, it's kind of embarrassing if you think about it. No, I think he's gonna steal my car. He stole my car. He stole my car. Oh, look. Oh. Man, this is the worst criminal of all time versus the worst police officer of all time. BBL Drizzy started a donut shop robbery. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. Everyone started to get a computer for themselves, and that's what really led off the innovations that we see today. Now, if everything is going off to the cloud, then all you're going to need is a little smartphone or a bigger smartphone, like a tablet, which I think is really, really sad. Oh. Man, should I spawn a car? It's just like, see, the thing about this is when you spawn a car, you can't really do much, right? They can run over stuff, but I think we have to spawn a car here, guys. So, yeah, this is the closest criminal that I've seen all day that hasn't shot me. So what it means, they're probably very bad at their job, or lack thereof. Oh, they're still there? He's still running out there in the mountains. And unfortunately, since I already spawned a car, I can't spawn a new one in like more seconds. Where is this guy? I think the police in this game should have a little bit more advantages. Like, for the criminals, all they have to do is escape, and then they can steal anything that they want. Like, how are you just bad at this? Oh, well, now I'm getting shot. And I got shot at point blank range. All right, guys. Sorry, but we're not gonna stand here and get shot at all day. We're gonna close this. We're gonna bring back the cursor. What is it? Control Shift B. There it is. There's our cursor back, guys. And next time, recommend something that we can actually win at. Okay, what do you want next time? What's the game called? Smashy Road. Unfortunately, that's a phone game, so we won't be streaming on that unless we can figure it out. I mean, I'll turn off the chat. We got our cursor back, guys. I hope you learned a lot about computers and the Catholic Church. Maybe that's what we should rename the podcast. We have some more topics to get into today. Let's see, we can open up the notes here, guys. We're not going to be reacting to Mr. Who's the Boss. We got to save him for next week. And we got to keep our topics open, right? If we run out of topics, then we run out of stuff to talk about. I've been doing this podcast for years, have not missed a week. We continue to keep that streak alive. But I want to go over to the techboard.org, the greatest technology website on the internet. And thank goodness for the touchscreen again. We're going to talk about LoRa. So I think this is one of the interesting things that is pushing the boundaries of technology, right? This is one of our write-ups here. Obviously, we use artificial intelligence to help us write this as well, but it was a topic that I am actually interested in as well, because I think having these sort of explainers, it really helps you guys out. It's good for SEO. It's good for, just having this on the internet, because people need to know about this. And I think this is one of the things that we talk about, right? We have Wi-Fi, we have Bluetooth, we have data, or, our cell phone's data. But we don't really focus on new ways to connect with our technology, right? We don't really focus on that. We only focus on what we have right now, but I think LoRa is important. So what exactly is LoRa? As you guys know, we've reviewed walkie-talkies before, and it allows, and they said that they have 35-mile range. What happened? Nothing. They only had about 2-mile range on a good day, straight line, right? They're very scammy. They don't work as well. LoRa is a radio spectrum. It's not Wi-Fi. It's not Bluetooth. It's not your cell phone's network. Imagine you want to go out there and you want to connect. You want to connect with a device 35 miles away. What are your options? Obviously not Bluetooth. That works from like maybe 100 feet. You can use data, but you have to build these cell phone towers, or you can do the old-fashioned way and connect a cable to it. That's very expensive, because the way that your cell phone works is it connects you to one tower, and that tower connects to the next tower, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I can call New York from Arizona, but it's not a direct point-to-point connection. Now, if I wanted to do that in LoRa, you can't connect from a LoRa, from New York to Arizona directly. You can if you have a mesh network. If I wanted to do that, let's say I wanted to connect from Phoenix to Tempe, Phoenix to Scottsdale, or whatever. What do we have here? LoRa is point to point. So it's not like walkie-talkie. So you have a range of 2 to 15 kilometers with low power consumption. That means that, unfortunately, no voice, no data, no internet. But here's what LoRa is important for. It's important for, let's say you have small bits of information, GPS coordinates, information about the soil temperatures, air temperature in a place somewhere. This is a very long article. You guys can go read it yourself. You have scientific, medical instruments that need information transmitted somewhere. I mean, use your imagination, right? There's so much in the air today, in the radio spectrum. I think it's really interesting that if we go in and get into every band, there's so much in the spectrum today that I think we should read more about it and learn more about it. And just use your imagination, guys. Imagine you have some sort of data. That's not a text. It's not an email. It's not a phone call that you want to transmit. Let's say I have plants, but on an industrial scale. You are a large-scale farmer, and your farm spans many miles, a 7-mile patch of land or whatever. And you want to know how the carrots on one side are doing this, the carrots on the other side. Or you want to know the GPS coordinates of your drone or whatever. Flew away, 7 miles away. What are you going to do? You're going to use LoRa. LoRa is basically a network for the Internet of Things, but it's not on the Internet. I think that's great. Because like I've been saying multiple times, we need to have a third network. So I hope you guys check out their article about LoRa on thetechboy.org. Tell me more topics that you want me to discuss, and we can answer more viewer questions if anyone actually watches this next time. So God bless. Tech Talks later. Thank you guys for watching. Post the Heartbeat of America. God bless you. May God bless the United States of America.